I'd like to introduce our speaker, Tobias Zulauf. I hope I said that correctly. He is a Joomla 3.10 release lead. He is the Joomla Security Assistant Team Lead, and he is involved in the German translation team. Today, he is presenting on the 3.10 path forward for Joomla. Again, I will probably jump on at 45 minutes if he isn't wrapped up by then, and we'll address some of your questions, put them in the Q&A. Everyone, enjoy the presentation.
And then also from me, hello. I can't see you right now, but yeah, that's how it works these days. And yeah, welcome to my presentation about 3.10. Next slide. My name is Tobias Zulauf, when pronounced in German. So yeah, I'm based in Germany, next to Cologne. I'm with the Joomla community since 2011 around, and as introduced, I'm the release lead right now for 3.10, part of the security team, part of the maintenance team, and also I'm doing some translations for Joomla German. So I'm pretty involved in the local, from my perspective, German community, as well as the international community. Here are my contact informations. So when you want to contact me via mail, Glib, or GitHub or Twitter, they are available. I'm available and happy to answer questions even beyond the current session and JoomlaDay. So feel free to contact me. Then what are the topics of this talk? Topics of this talk are 3.10. Some first things, quick facts, basically. What new features we are going to introduce into 3.10, where features are tightly scoped. Then we're talking about one of the features called the pre-update checker. And then we're going or I'm going to explain some how you can see 3.10 in the scope of what does it include, or how it should be used for on the side from users, and how extension developers should look at that. And I've also included some links and questions. At the end of the presentation, there's also a QR code where you can download the slide deck, so no need to type all the stuff, and also there will be a recording available. Now, what is 3.10, how it's going, and what this thing is about? It's the final release, or it will be the final release of 3.x series, and will be released together with 4.0. So at the time 4.0 goes out, there will also be a 3.10, and it's intended to be a compatibility release, and will be supported by 2 years from the day of it's released, as promised in the release strategy that we laid out. And also 3.10 will be the starting point for any migration. So there's no upgrade path from 3.9 or 3.8 directly to 4, but only via 3.10. So the usual upgrade path would look like something like 3.9.25 or 8 or whatever we are at that time. Then upgrade to 3.10.0, all the latest version that we have at the time you want to do the upgrade. And then from 3.10, you can upgrade to 4. One of the main reasons is the also mentioned already the pre-update checker, given that the jump between 3.10 and Joomla 4 is a bit bigger than just between 3.9 or 3.10. Yes. So next slide. What kind of new features do we have in 3.10? The first thing, and that's already there, is a kind of compatibility layer that's also shipped with some large parts of where also shipped with 3.9 already. So the intention is when you're an extension developer that you can use the same code base in the end, or more or less the same code base, to support Joomla 4 and Joomla 3. So you don't have to rewrite everything and start all over again. And that's something that we also gonna to extend in future updates on 3.10 when there are extension developers coming out and say, hey, yeah, there's a feature in Joomla 4 that I'd like to use, but I can't when I also run on 3.10. So can you introduce that? And yeah, that's also possible. And that's the aim of 3.10 too. Then there will be an end of support plugin similar to what we had for 3.2.5. But this time around, including some, hey, yeah, you need to prepare, or some, let's say, earlier warnings. It will be shipped as plugin, and also with, yes, so you can disable it on sites that you manage. Given that's usually not intended to, yeah, to sites that are managed by someone, but to a site not necessarily managed by someone who knows the Joomla support cycle. So they are aware that 3.10 is going to get out of support after the 2 years of time period. And then we have the pre-update checker. The pre-update checker is a thing that I'm going to explain now. That's a thing that's making sure that the basics for upgrading to Joomla 4 is met on your server. For example, PHP version. And the more important part, it's a check to make sure that all your extensions that are installed on your site are available for Joomla 4 too. And so in after the upgrade, the aim is that your site isn't broken. For the Joomla core stuff, all of that will be upgraded. That was also the case from 2.5 to Joomla 3, but and this will also be the case for Joomla 4. But the pre-update checker will help to migrate and have a, yeah, in the end, some kind of checklist of what extensions do I need to check and what extensions are up to date and run on both versions. So yeah, built into the Joomla update component was the project lead in this kind was Ron Dalmunder from the Netherlands. I think he's also here in the, at least I think he was around within the JoomlaDay USA too. And most of the code were done by the by a German by German students aus Gießen, and all of that were based on 2 other people's work. And the latest improvements were done by Jared Edwards. So you can see there are many people involved based on a lot of work. And yeah, I'm very happy to have this kind of pre-update check now that can also be improved when we find some stuff that we need to check better. Then yeah, also this can also be later be improved, or yeah, even before the release is happening, depending on the next steps we take. So let's go into the pre-update checker. That space should be familiar to the most of the people in here. It's the first screen of the of Joomla update. So when you update Joomla in 3.9, the first tab isn't there. You are on the live update tab. I'm going to show later how it looks like then. But the pre-update checker tab has some informations available. For example, the checking for the minimum PHP version for Joomla 4, that as of today is 7.2.5, and also some required PHP and settings that should be familiar to you when you install Joomla. Similar checks were applied, and also new, given that Richard is here, we also have the database table structure check. So thanks to him. You know that from extensions database, that you have the interrogatory check for the database, and when that fails, that's a thing you can only see there. And now that information is also available on the required on the pre-update checker. So it's there when you're planning your upgrade. You don't have to remind yourself, go through this setting and check that it's up to date. But it's also mentioned here. So that's the first thing. Then we have on the right-hand side from that, the recommended PHP settings. That's similar to what you should remember from the installer. It's the display errors, given that this is an exam installation and also my development setup. I have display errors on. That's recommended to be off, but on the development side, it makes sense to have that on. File uploads, native zip support, etc. All of that recommended PHP settings. They usually should pass on the live side, similar to the required stuff. Given that your site right now could run on PHP 5.6 too, the PHP version could be a stuff that to be updated. But when you're still running on PHP 5.6, upgrade it onto 7.4 or later. Then we have the extensions pre-update checker, and I can understand it looks kind of complicated, but we'll go into it step by step, explaining all the stuff that you can see here. And generally speaking, every extension that's installed on your site will be listed here and checked against the update server that the extension developers are providing. So the extension developer providing an update server pointing to and saying, and releasing all the updates. So you can download them and have them available. And this extension pre-update checker makes sure that the updates are or checks for updates for Joomla 4 and display the information to you. So for example, I have the first extension listed here. Let's go. There are 3 parts, as you mentioned, and now we are going to the red part. That's the most dangerous part, technically speaking, or the thing that all extensions are listed that have no compatible version that in this case would run on Joomla 4, or doesn't provide any compatibility information. So it could be an extension that's custom built to your site, but don't include any don't have any update server. Then we also cannot check for any compatibility information, and therefore have to stay with the version that's in here. You also find the potential serious problem and more information stuff. That's a thing that I'm going to touch. The plugin I've installed here, the content image lazy loading plugin that I provided, is a plugin that is only necessary on Joomla 3. So in this case, you are free to uninstall it at the time that you upgrade to Joomla 4. So it provides an update server, but no version that has to be compatible with Joomla 4 yet. So the other ones are just test ones, but there is the potential serious problem kind of message, and this comes from intensive testing, where at the time you do the upgrade, we do some checks and run some code. But at the time also specific plugins or some plugin events of some plugin types can be run, and that are system user authentication, action log, or two-factor authentication. So when we find a plugin that doesn't tell the system that it's compatible with Joomla 4, then we issue that potential serious problem warning. Maybe I think you are more deeper or better maybe in the English, to maybe we even can get a better message out there. But the intention is to say, yeah, that there could be a problem with that kind of plugin. Given that in the upgrade process, they could jump into the upgrade process, and when the extension fails to execute the correct code, for example, because we changed something in Joomla 4 that they are not catching or that they are not aware of, then the upgrade could fail, and your site would be broken beyond repair. So there's no easy way to roll back all the changes whatsoever. So we decided to detect that upfront, check are all extensions available for Joomla 4. In this case, it's a demo thing that is not, so I can show it to you. And yeah, the affected plugin types are system, user authentication, etc. And yeah, I know there are system events that are not triggered at that place, but it could be, so we add it there. So when you have a plugin that's that could have that kind of failed upgrade stuff, we issued that warning in the first place. So that should be the place you look at the extension developer, reach out to them and ask them, hey, where is there an update? Isn't there an update whatsoever? And by default, we are going to block you from upgrading. So we don't want your site to be completely broken. So we have implemented a list here then again, what kind of plugin and when there is any, is that part of any package. And you can see it here, even with the auto information, so you can reach out to them and make sure that this is safe to upgrade, or is it is not, given that we can't measure that at any point. So when you want to wish to ignore any of what we want you to, given that you double check with your extension developer and it's okay to do that, then hit the box and you can install the update. But yeah, the intention is to don't get that message at all for extensions. And when you get it, you can also disable the extension just for the upgrade and then re-enable it again. Then it will also not show up here. Yeah, that should be the usual approach. Going into the extension manage tab, disable the plugin from the plugin types mentioned, or for the plugins that are not compatible with Joomla 4. Disable that, and then you shouldn't get a message here and before, and then the upgrade should work as expected. So that's just the, yeah, let's say, in some cases this can occur. In the most cases, I personally would expect that this isn't the case, but so you saw it here first. Then we have the update required tab. It is usually a thing that shows you what there is an extension installed. In this case, it's a package. It's installed in version 1.0. And there is already a 1.10 version out that is compatible with Joomla 3.10 and with Joomla 4. So you can update to 1.10. Yes, 1.10, and that would then be moved up to the green the green box that I'm showing in a minute. And yeah, on the letter, you can see that's the screenshot from the update screen on extensions. So you can update here, and then the update required will be gone. So yeah, it shows the installed version right now wouldn't be compatible, but that's information that also an information that the extension developer provides an update to the latest version, and then also provides information about what version do you need to run into Joomla 4. And yeah, usually you can update that then via the extension manager. And then there's the green part. The green part is the page where all the extensions are listed. I've included two of mine to showcase that. It's the HTTPS and the FOSS two-factor authentication on user group plugin that's installed already in the latest version, and it's compatible with 3.10, and I've also tested it on Joomla 4 already. So everything in the green box is usually totally fine. In the latest one with the yellow information is usually that there is a specific newer version to be compatible. In this case, it was built up that it's kind of confusing, but usually it could be that there is a newer version available, for example, 1.10.1 or whatever, that's compatible with Joomla 4, but it is not anymore with 3.10. So it would be listed here when there is a difference between that version. So check with the extension developer when it comes up, but I think in most of the cases it should be similar to mine too. So that's about the pre-update checker. I think, yeah, I see there are questions, but I think we will answer them after the presentation. Then 3.10 for end users and integrators. Usually it's a simple upgrade from 3.9. So whatever is the latest version, it will upgrade as it would be 3.9.x plus 1. So no special things involved here. We keep all the minimum requirements. All of the extensions and tabs and templates should still work. Yeah, should still work. But it is, as mentioned earlier, the starting point for the 3.10 to 4 migration. So when you want to do that, then you are upgrading from 3.9 to 3.10 and then to 4. And as mentioned also earlier, for the end users, it's important, and the integrators, the minimum of 2 years support after the initial release. The expected thing would be 1 year of bug fixes and security support, obviously, and then the second year just security fixes. So no major bug fix releases intended, but at least security stuff will still be looked into and released to the 3.10. Then for extension developers, for 3.10, 3.10 is intended to be to allow your extensions to be used with the same code base. So, for example, my plugins that I mentioned earlier can run with the 100% same code base on 3.9, 3.10, and 4.0. And usually it is every extension that runs on 3.9 will run on 3.10 too. We didn't broke intentionally any backwards compatibility stuff. With 4, that this isn't the case. So it could be that an extension that runs on 3.9 and 3.10 that don't work on Joomla 4. But usually when you don't use any deprecated stuff and namespaced classes that are available since 3.9, it should work on Joomla 4, or at least with minimal impact. So on the 3.10 side, everything works as expected, like it does on 3.9. please test it. So, and report back when there are any issues. But for the 4 stuff, it could involve some more testing and rewriting, but we have provided many stuff from Joomla 4 also in 3.10 optionally available, so that you can also run the same code in your 3.x version. For extension developers, as mentioned, test it now. Test it now and make sure that 3.10 is working as expected, so it doesn't break for whatever reasons we maybe just didn't think of that it could break in 3.10. Report to us on the GitHub issue tracker. So we are aware that there are issues on the compatibility side, and correctly set your target platform. That's where all the information are coming from for the pre-update checker. And it looks like this, I think. Yeah, it should be visible. In the presentation, when you click on it, you can see the whole page where the screenshot is coming from. And for the pre-update checker, the most important part is the target platform named Joomla. Okay, makes sense. It's all the same for all. And then the version tag. For example, my HTTP header plugin, I said, yeah, it's compatible with 8, 9, and 10. And I have released or also have the same version available for Joomla 4. So with that combined information, Joomla knows, okay, there is a version that's compatible with 3.9 and 10. It's the version 1.0.14. And right now it's the same version, but maybe after the release of Joomla 4, I decide to only continue the Joomla 4 version. Then I can increase here my version and provide that for Joomla 4. When there is no information available, so the second wouldn't be there, then this extension would be land under the red information, given that there is no information available on is there a version or is there not a version, and yeah, to be manually reviewed. But yeah, I think when it's too small in the PDF that you can download, you can click here and look it up when you need it. Then there are also links included here for the strategy update, and also about the pre-update checker on the documentation page, and also for every extension developer that wants to implement a version of your extension for Joomla 4, also the BC documentation, and also on the Untitled builds. Right now, the version of the pre-update check I just showed you is just in the Untitled builds. I can show it when I switch to presentation. That's the live side, and here the Untitled builds. So here you can find developer Joomla.org Untitled builds. And here you can find under 3.10 the latest version of 3.10. It's generated this night, and contains all the changes that I shared with you earlier, or that you can see here too. And the same is true for Joomla 4. When you set it up and want to see the pre-update checker, you go to the options. Oh, I'm logged out. We'll log in again. Oh. Presentation. Yep. Components to update. It's a local XM. Takes some time. So there you can go to options. And there right now for the testing side, you set the update channel to custom URL, development, alpha or beta, and then place the update server for Joomla 4 in. So the next major list. That makes sure Joomla tries to update to the latest nightly build available from 3.10, and then shows the pre-update checker. Then shows the pre-update checker to and tries to check against when you are that's the thing. Then you see here they are processing, takes some time, and then you can see all the stuff that I showed you earlier for every extensions, all the details that are in there, and also the potential serious problem as we discussed earlier. On the live update tab, as mentioned, all the list is in there. Do you want to, that's the plugin. Yeah, it's a dummy description, but it should mention the correct update, the correct plugin name and package name when it is part of a package, and the author and the URL to the author when they are presented in XML. Then you can check here, and then the install update would allow you to update. When there isn't any problem causing plugins, all of that isn't showing up, and it would look similar to what it looks right now, and the pre-update checker will not mention any extension that's read in this place. So we'll switch over here again, and then the next one, questions and answers. On the right-hand side, you find the QR code or the link, if you wish, for the presentation. And on the left-hand side, my GitHub sponsors profile. So I'm happy to answer some questions. Should I just go for the first one?
Yeah, so the first one was asked by Bruce.
Yeah.
As a developer, what do I have to do to make my extensions pass the update check?
Okay. So the first is the latest in my list. As developer, to pass the update checks, provide an update server and provide the. I will show it in my. And then I can zoom. I think that's easier to follow then.
I'll jump off so you have full screen.
No problem. Update server, switch to that one. So hopefully you can see that now better. Here, this one. This is the important stuff. Providing the correct target platform versions, and for Joomla 4, something like 4.x, or you can also do a star and say, yeah, I support everything, but yeah, it should match. So when Joomla tries to check for the Joomla 4 target platform tag, and yeah, provide the information there, then you are green, and then your extension will be listed as green. So for example, the HTTP headers plugin that you just saw the XML, it's on the green side. So hopefully that answers the question. Don't know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I believe he did put in the chat that it was hard to read before, but yes, that answers his question.
Okay. Then the next question is from Tony. Is the right migration path 9 3 TIFF beta alpha? No, the migration path usually is for testing right now. It would be 3.9, then 3.10 alpha 6 right now is the latest version, and then 4.0. But right now we are still in alpha and testing phases. So when it's on the live side, the upgrade path would be 3.9. 3.10.0, and then 4.0 or 4.x, whatever is in there. I think, yeah, it's also a thing that JoomlaDay USA admin, I think Laura did that. Yeah.
Okay, so Tony actually updated it in just a second ago. So does that sound right?
Yeah. Is there a list of extensions which are already known, not ever work with Joomla 4? I'm not aware of a list right now. And it also depends on the extension developer. So someone could compose a list of extensions that are will never work with Joomla 4. But I think that's a statement that the extension developer has to do. I'm not aware of a list right now, given that there is no final Joomla 4 version out yet. Maybe some developers still look for that. So for changes, it is they have support both. For the changes on the API side, yes, and the so for changes, the idea is through above. Joomla 3 provides all the stuff or some of the stuff that you can backport that isn't part of Joomla 4. So Joomla 4, for example, has the email templating stuff that isn't part of Joomla 3 and isn't part of 3.10. But on the API side, everything that for example, the namespaces that have been introduced into 3.9, for example, and also some stuff for categories that have been changed in 4.0 or for 4.x have been backported to Joomla 3.10 and Joomla 9 respectively, to provide that compatibility layer. So it's not a API backport of all the stuff that's in Joomla 4, but providing what can be provided into a BC manner. If there's Tony also asked about 3.9, 3.10 beta, etc. Is there a way to skip from 3.9 to Joomla 4 stable? No, there will not be a way. The way will always be 3.9, 3.10, 4.0. But at least saying from the cost perspective, upgrade as every normal extension would be, and as every normal core update would look like. So 3.9, then hit install Joomla 4, Joomla 3.10, and then 4.0. Are third-party templates completely checked too? Technically, it should be. Given that there are extensions, I haven't installed a package or a template in this installation, but it should be listed there too. But on the template side, the problem is that for Joomla 4, the output has massively changed. So whatever template you have installed right now should be very carefully after the upgrade. And some templates also provide plugins that also should be checked. So yes, technically it should be included here, but on the template side, that's one of the main things that has to be considered for Joomla 4. Will Joomla 4 automatically go over to classic? Only from my latest test, it should only be when you're running the default templates. And then it goes over and uninstalls the old default templates that are part of the core. It shouldn't switch. I have to check that, but I don't think that it should switch when you have another template installed. Just for the core templates, that will be switched over. I think that should be answer your question. Are there more questions? Maybe from the chat?
I don't see any more questions. Here's your opportunity. If anyone has any questions, please add them to the Q&A, something else in the chat. We got a great presentation from Bruce.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. we'll switch over to the presentation, so everyone who didn't not
Mhm.
had the chance to for the code can do it.
Thank you. Very helpful.
And as always, when there are questions arising outside of the presentation, reach out to me, as mentioned in my initial posts, via email. That I'm happy to help, and yeah, move forward.
Got a lot of good chatter saying really appreciated your presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Would love to see you in real.
Oh, we got
See,
one
there's a
more.
red dot. The update checker.
One more question. Oh, maybe
Yeah.
2 more questions.
Yeah, the update checker comes with 3.10. That's right. So 3.9 to 3.10. Then the pre-update checker includes all the information I just showed you, and then Joomla 4. That's also the reason that there is the step on 3.10 before. And then did an update.
Martin asked one as well.
Yeah, did an update from Protostar. It updated Joomla with Protostar, worked fine. Okay. Okay. So there's only the new template and it's not replacing it. Okay, that's great.
Okay.
There's more chats.
More chats. Excited but scared. And I'm assuming you'll be around throughout the day. If someone wants to message you privately or meet up with you.
Yeah, Tim Davis a few seconds ago asked about the time frame. Time frame is the Joomla 4 time frame. The decision has been made to release it together, so we don't lose any time on the 2 years update promise. So Joomla 3.10 will be released together with Joomla 4, and once there is a final release date for Joomla 4, there will be the same for 3.10.
Nobody needs to be afraid.
At least not for 3.10.
Nice talk.